Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Heavy Metal Muscle. Today, this bodybuilder is going to try ballet.
Yeah!
So I'm at the Kona Ballet Studio with my friend Kurt. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kurt. I'm a professional dancer in Kelowna, and yeah, we're here visiting the Ballet Kelowna studios, and we're going to see what some of the similarities are between good old dance and bodybuilding, and what are the similarities.
One of the similarities I found out right away is like I was going to wear like the short shorts and the tank top, feel like a bodybuilder, but it turns out it's like the same outfit as ballet.
Oh yeah, pretty good go-to, especially for my wardrobe.
All right, let's head in. So how do you warm up?
So with the classic ballet class, usually we start facing the bar and just go through some minor movements. For a good comparison is we try to find a lot of articulation through all parts of the body. So we might start with maybe working through the toes, maybe going to the ball of the foot, rolling over the toes.
Never do that.
Ball of the foot and down, maybe another side.
How much do you go on your actual toe-toes like that?
Personal preference. Some people, over time, you'll love to just push into it and really force over the toes. If you're just starting out, it might not be the right feeling of pleasure just yet. Sometimes we go for like a nice little plie roll-up, so we do a double bend, pop the heels, lengthen legs. Very similar to like, I guess, a version of a squat, but
similar to a sissy squat, like, because like there's sissy squats where you go like this.
Oh yeah.
Just to like isolate your quads. There's machines for that. It's called a sissy squat. I don't know why.
Well, apparently
but not with the lift.
Because one of the things that we're starting to figure out is where our balance is. So, in comparison to a sissy squat, it definitely feels like you go in toward the quads and then it transfers forward. Whereas for this one, you want to be able to balance without anything. So it's going to be more toward the heels. And then as you look up, you almost stay in space with the pelvis, just going vertical as the legs recover. So we'll go through maybe a couple of those, maybe the reverse direction just to feel different but the same. Ballet is very much about the symmetry and making sure that we do everything to the right as we do to the left, even if it's like the same thing but different. Very much like that. And just some generic, like classic calf stretches, I'm sure people have seen. One of my favorite things I love to do, just because I do have tighter hamstrings in that region, is I will try to pop my foot on the bar and just a good old dangle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for this one, it's totally passive. Like you can have as much bend. It does take a while to get used to having your leg just hanging on the bar. It probably doesn't feel comfortable just the weight on the bar. As
Your hamstrings are tight. That's work on.
But another great variation for that is, symmetry.
It's interesting, I can touch my toes, but this is like definitely a stretch to have up like that.
Yeah. After that little bit of warm up, we would start with the first exercise at the bar, which is just like a first position where we just make a little bit of a pizza shape. Heels coming together, yep. And then the main thing is that we do want to make sure that we keep maintaining knees in line with toes at all times. And it's basically like
so this is rotated the same as.
And it's coming from the top of the thigh, so it's almost like if you come back to parallel, and if you were to stick your one leg out, without moving anything else within the socket, engaging the glutes to rotate, yes. But we want to try to avoid a sit or a sink into the supporting leg. So it's almost like you're pressing down, and then and then you can bring it to the floor, step on it, and then you would try to replicate that with the second side. So you're constantly engaged, it's never a passive position. Yeah. You have decent turnout. And then from there, you just try and bend both knees at the same time. And then
This is a proper plie?
That's a plie. So basically, plie just means to bend, so we're just bending at the knees. And it's basically our main beginning exercise of learning or remembering to track the knees over the toes. Because the next version would be called the grand plie, which is where we're allowing the heels to come off the floor, and we can let everything go deeper. You can for sure hold the bar.
That's good.
And then we plant the heels again to reverse. So it's almost like a ballet version, another ballet version of the squat, I guess. It's just now much more in the hamstring and glute is the main instigators that
So
we
it's
try
like
to use.
a leg press, for example, more of a hamstring glute variation. Instead of having your feet like this, you put them like this,
Yes.
way out, and try to like use your glutes to push it.
Yes.
So it's kind of similar, but like one thing is, like, since I'm like comparison, so I'm not used to going down to standing. It's like my balance is like going forward and back all over the place. It's just a very foreign thing.
So if you were actually have both hands on the bar, so they can see the side view, is we actually do a mini crunch from the lower abdominals to ensure that it's kind of like my old teachers would always say hydropopo, but it's basically just to help maintain as neutral of a spine as possible and avoid letting it stick out. And then I like to think of it as a toaster. So you're a piece of bread, getting nice and golden brown. If you accidentally go wayward, you're burning yourself. And so you're thinking about dropping the tailbone, pulling up with the core as you're going down at the same time, because that creates a little more freedom in the hip socket over time.
Definitely before I was definitely cheating going forward. Trying to keep like that. It was a lot more like calves and everything more engaged happening.
It's much more the backside, especially for the legs in comparison. Because then another, what would be the next exercise for ballet would be tendus, and it actually works with more, tendus. I mean, there is a step called fondue, which is, to melt the good cheese, the good chocolates, but we're going to work with the tendus, and it works more. The other difference is between the types of fitness is we really work with eccentric contraction, almost like engaging the muscle by lengthening as opposed to shortening. And so with tendus, we can even be with our first position from that good old stack and isolation, dropping the tail, engaging the core. We can have the weight transfer over. Sorry, this is always my teacher mode coming in. If this is your center of weight, you would transfer over to what will become your supporting foot, and then you just try brushing your foot along the floor to point while maintaining the rotation without moving anything else.
Oh.
Like with the tendus, because everything is building up from the micro movements to when we do things like for jumps. So when we're jumping, we constantly go through that demi point and full point articulation. So this is another way to build up on that. So as we brush, we think about brushing with as much as the foot surface as possible, and then as we find that demi point, we actually lengthen at the ankle, and it kind of slides more in line with the leg where it started, and then the toes snatch underneath. All the while thinking about heels coming forward, toes going back to encourage that rotation in the hip socket, and creates a longer line when seen from the side versus letting it go the other way as it shortens it in a feeder context.
Definitely on the side, it makes a big difference the way it looks.
Whereas most people, we just need to walk heels up. With tendus, we start to figure out how the pelvis can get affected. So we can come back to both hands on the bar. And so, luckily, when we go tendus to the front, it's probably the easiest of the three directions that we go because we can see where we're looking and we can feel how it kind of crosses to our midline. We can do tendus to the side and to the back, and what we want to try to do is, we say straight side, but we want to follow our natural line of turnout. So basically, wherever your toes end up, that's where you want to draw a straight line out to the side. And it's the same concept of thinking, dropping and bringing the heel forward as we go through the demi point to the full toes, and then demi point to come back. It's again 100% unnatural for the human body. Because then also, all the while, it's this whole pelvis and shoulder recheck and whatnot. When we go to the back, it's the same concept but reverse, variations of the theme. So when we went forward, we led with the heel and then tried to leave the toes behind. When we go to the back, we want these same rotations. We have to think opposite. So instead of we're leading with the toes, to leave the heel behind, so it's the same rotation.
Having the rotation is tricky to get back.
As we try to point our toes.
Such a small movement, it feels like it's like so foreign to. I guess it's like the same with any new discipline. You're try anything. It's
100%. So pretty much.
Even a simple like a deadlift, it's because you're not just picking off the ground. You're doing it easy, but it takes months for people to learn how to get their body to like do the biomechanics of that efficiently.
yeah, there's such a form to everything, and because one wrong move and the body can just react in such a bad way, and which is unfortunate. how sensitive the body can be to those moments, but also how awesome is it that I can do all this stuff. Pretty much, in theory, if you can plie and you can tango, you can do anything for a battle, or at least everything was built with that kind of a combination. So moving along, let's actually go next, skipping ahead in the class, it will be a rond de jambe. So this would be like
Rond de jambe.
Rond de jambe, which will translate to circle of the leg, which is a great promoter for our turnout. This is roughly probably like the 5th or 6th type of exercise that we would do. Usually in a class we would start with the plies, we would do like 3 variations of a tendu just to build up speed gradually. And then a jeté, which is basically
there's a speed component to it too.
Oh yeah. Like to start, we might incorporate some of the walking or some of the easy plies for the first one. For the second one, we would change our feet position. There's 5 of them in total, but probably to help find our glutes the easiest, it's first position. But we have first, second, which is basically a good old wide squat placement, I guess. Third would be crossing what would be the front foot over in front of the back foot, and it's more of the heels in line with each other. Fourth position would be just bringing that foot forward and having a bit of depth. And then 5th position is just the progression from 3rd. Everyone usually starts with 3rd for a good while, because eventually from 3rd to get to 5th, it will be the toes and the heels in line with one another. However, it can feel like to get the position, a lot of torque can happen. So we want to build it up over time, and that's why 3rd is there as the baby start.
And for speed, how fast does it go?
Let's think. A classic, faster one would probably be oh yeah, there's also a chance for weight transfers as we go along, or any little placements. It's really,
it's quite a bit of muscle memory building up there.
Yes, that's a good way to put it, is building up the muscle memory and reminding the muscle memory what it's remembered. So it can go pretty much as fast as, I guess, like this simple if you want. With the other layer to ballet is musicality. Well, we can try a little promenade. So basically promenade went in a classic pas de deux or partnership for ballet.
Is that like a couples?
Yeah, a couple stance. Naturally, guy and a girl. However, many ballets have done guy, and girl, too. We're making headway. One of the basic partnering steps is called promenade, which is basically kind of like, there's like the whole promenade, like walking around the square type of thing. And basically, you hold partner, or you are held, and you get pivoted, almost like a music box. Would be the person being partnered, and the guy would essentially hold the waist and try to walk along a circle, being an outer ring to the lady while she holds the shape. So basically, if I were to grab her waist, you're to grab roughly there. Okay. I'm looking my button. Okay.
I'm kind of stabilizing these.
And then if you're able to stabilize me a little more to the left. So it's almost like you want to try to get this under my chest over my left. Yeah, there. And then now try to walk in a circle. While keeping me over. And you, sorry, I forgot that part. No, that's a really good grip already. And you're also like, I guess there's a slight pull/push so that I pivot as well with you. So yeah, basically grab nice and sturdy, and then, already something good. And then now try to pivot me as you walk around. And then push a little forward. A little more forward. Yeah! That's it. That's a promenade.
It's like on the motor, and it's like the music box.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but what should I do? Like there's almost like an elderly with a shopping cart.
Yeah, we do. Everyone starts off with a
Sure. So,
you
how do you
can
have your
rise
feet
up-
again?
You can rise up onto the one foot, and then you can just take a little bit of a hover of the foot. And then what's going to be awkward because I want you to look
Like
straight.
calves going up.
Yeah. And then we go around. And that's it. And then it requires a totally different kind of strength too, as the partner to accept what's happening. Knowing that, because actually the worst thing to do is if someone being partner tries to help at a particular moment, then the guy or the partner has no idea where to go.
I'm kind of getting the theme in the stress position is like probably more focus. There's a lot of things to learn from my side of things from that because that's like the stretch position is so important. Like that's why in bodybuilding use cables all the time, almost everything. Because then you can actually get the stretch position. It's like if you're just doing curls with a dumbbell, gravity's not there yet until you get to like here. So if you use a cable, now you like get that. That's why you get the bigger size and you get like every fiber going, the movements, and also to have it so it's not tight. Because like that. The thing that comes, well, commonality is you try to move to music in a graceful kind of way. And the more graceful and less robotic you can look, the better. So that there's a lot of crossover. How long does it take people to do like a jump?
Oh, do you jump? Oh, that's
Something showy.
So we'll always start with the jump in first position, because it's the very first position.
It's a good name, man.
Yeah. So basically, kind of like what I was saying earlier, how everything is made up of a plie and a tendu. This is a very good example of this. We start with the plie, which is like the springboard. We think of this as our coils. And then we lengthen the legs into that engagement that we had for the rises. And then we have the point of the toes, and we just go up, 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 up.
You gotta point my toes in.
Yeah, it's such a like you're like engaging to press the ankle bone forward as you do the contraction, as opposed to just the toes. I mean, common phrase is just point the toes, which you can, but then that's actually not as safe because it's not a full sequential movement. But if you think about probably practically elongating at the ankle joint, bring that top part forward in space. In this case, it'll be going up to the side. That's where you get more of that up and down shape.
Okay, another one that would be fun is like the spin.
Oh, pirouette. So yeah, pretty much for a pirouette, we can.
What's it called?
A pirouette.
Pirouette.
Yeah, it's a P-I-R-O-U-E-T-T. Oh yeah, all the words are French. The French made it, supposedly came in 14. So we'll start in our fourth position, which is kind of like that third, but just stepping forward. And so what we're going to try and do is with the plie as our base. Start off with, we're going to just try and bring the right foot in front of the leg. It doesn't matter where height-wise for now. We want to try and find up and down. That would be the starting thing. So it's almost like similar to the jump. We want to lengthen through this leg and stay on the demi point. And then as we lengthen, that's when we can bring the foot in front.
And so then you're on your toe like this, and how'd you get the momentum? Because the only reason I was thinking this way is because I'm kind of thinking push and one like that.
I would say for sure for that direction, that's correct. For the other way, clockwise, I almost think about, because I have this really good vertical spine stack, from here I'm like squeezing tall, and then as I go, I almost initiate from, thinking like shoulders and these aren't your hip bones, I made that misconception. Your iliac crest. I heard it once last year, I was like, life-changing. Imagine that these are your headlights and you want the headlights to turn. So with that, as soon as you push, you think headlights. You can have them in this like third position. As you do the demi play, you can do a little bit of an open of that arm that's in front. And then you can bring it together. Yeah. And it's almost like trying to time it out so it's one successive movement.
Yeah. Usually when I think ballet, it's usually like kind of a running thing and a hop thing. I don't know that's.
So that would be called grande.
Grande?
Grande. Like grande, but grande.
Okay.
Like Starbucks, but the French. And jeté, basically, basically just a split here, because I think I'll be taking one.
Yeah.
Usually with that one, build up the momentum, and almost like that coil sensation that we were feeling with our first little jump.
Yeah.
How we can build up the momentum while carrying it through in space while picking up speed. In the French terms would be tombe, pas de bourrée, glissade, jeté. Because it gives you a chance to feel the sponginess, which is basically like a step, grapevine, a mini jump that opens side and out, almost like a little warm-up jeté, and then jeté. Because basically from here, if we're thinking of traveling on a diagonal, you just take a step, and then it's almost as if you're going to do a kick up with the knee, lengthen the leg, and then kick with a straight leg behind. So we step up.
Maybe some hands. Maybe to finish, I'll show you a couple bodybuilder moves.
Sure, let's try.
So do you know how to like pop your lats? So these muscles here, to make them pop out. Like if you think of upright rows, like but you're in the back. Or think like you're pulling down and pulling these. Oh. Yeah, get those to fire. So you're trying to get those, and so you sound like this.
Oh, I look too lanky.
And the idea is actually kind of similar. You're rotated, and you're thinking push down, sucking everything, because everything of your body has been flexed.
Oh, right.
Even though it's still relaxed, you're semi-vacuumed your stomach, pretending like you want to take shallow breaths to keep your waist as small as possible. So you're like this. Yeah. So that's the first. And then 90 degrees is. So then this one, the left foot is just ever so it's kind of just into your ankle. Oh. And then you smash your legs together. Because the more you squeeze them together, the more you get the separation there. Oh. And you only want to push down because you don't want to flex your hamstring. Because if it does, it pulls up a little small. Oh. And then you kind of want to be actually like a couple degrees upstage rotated, so that way when you turn, your waist looks smaller.
So then that's camera.
Yeah. And then the judge is usually down there, so you're kind of closer to him. But you think flex this arm, the biceps pushed into this pec. So that makes it look bigger. Okay. And then the shoulder, every time you can make your shoulders look wider and then taper waist, that's what you're always trying to do. And this hand's just gonna go like this. Yeah. So that's the 90 degrees. Woo. And then back. This is the other one. This is just front one. And the only difference is try to think a little bit of hip thrust. So you get your glutes engaged. But this is always relaxing because nobody can see your stomach. So you can actually let go and just relax your breathing, catch your breath. And then 90 degrees, you're going to do the other same.
Got in and out. Okay, take the waist.
Yeah.
Entrance around.
And then you almost try to lift your foot a little bit while you're pushing down, trying to get your calves to work. That's the 90 degrees. The last one I'll just show for fun, well, two, because they're fun, is side chest. So this one, the left foot halfway up. You can't either have the other one straight or slightly bent, but it is to smash them together. So you get that separation. Pushing down, and this foot lifting up to try to get the calf going, but not this hamstring. And then think, push the knees apart to get your glutes to fire. And it's the same, just the upstage, so you're rotating. And then the move is to go reach with the arms forward, and so you can show off the lat separation. I'm bulking right now, so I don't have all the detail. And then clasp your hands, and then pull your shoulders idea is to, when you're here, you're providing a way to flex that arm by pushing down, but yet you're pushing the bicep into this pec. And you try to think to flex this pec, but not this one. And then the idea is here that to the audience, you want to see the whole, yeah, so you can see the waist to there and there. So the smaller your waist can look, or if you can see the holes through it, then you know your waist is small. And then try to bring the shoulder back as far as you can, because then it makes you look bigger.
With the twist or like keeping full?
Rotating it, yeah. Yeah, because then it looks like you're bigger. So then we'll say like side chest, and you're like this, standing for like the minutes or whatever. And then you.
Oh, just the one
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Well, thank you so much, Kurt. That was great.
Yeah, of course. But when we're getting bigger.
Oh, that was sure fun to try out. Totally different from what I usually do. And thank you so much, Ballet Kelowna Studio. Check them out on Instagram at Ballet Kelowna. And Kurt. And yeah, that was sure fun to try a totally different type of fitness than I usually do. There's so many different incredible types of fitness to enjoy. And thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to support the channel, be sure to use my affiliate code below for Redcon1 and my discount codes. And I'll catch you next time on Heavy Metal Muscle. Hint, my next video is I'm trying strongman.